In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use Zendriver to get the exact data that you need to never get blocked while web scraping again. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so for this example, I'm going to be using Turo. This is a website where users can rent cars from different locations. So to get started, let's just set up the Chrome developer tools. Let's go to network, and now let's do a search. So we're just going to do JFK Airport, and the date doesn't matter. Let's just search. So we're going to see a bunch of information. None of this matters. What we're really after is this one, which is the search, which gives us all the data on all the different cars, which is great to see. So this is exactly what we want. So looking at the request, what we can see is it's a Cloudflare protected site, and the way we see that is we just do Cloudflare. We'll see, yeah, it's mentioned a bunch, obviously, and it's also just mentioned over here in the headers. So let's just go through it. So the server, Cloudflare, literally says right there, and we also have a lot of different cookies, and we also have what seems to be an auth token. So there's just a lot of protections. So we're gonna have to be really smart about this, and we can't just use the same headers every day or probably even every hour. So we're gonna have to get them dynamically. So let's start with your code and show how to do that. But first, before we go, let's just copy over the request. So you're gonna do control click or right click on it, copy as curl, and then let's go to the code editor. All right, so I'm here in Cursor, it's AI code editor. If you've been watching any of my recent videos, you know I really like to use this. It's super powerful and really speeds up development time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it write the basic code just to make the request with all the different headers, and then we're gonna build up from there. All right, so it looks like the script is finished. It's doing the requirements, but we don't need that. So it's created the script, which is great. I told it to use curl CFFI, which is a library that impersonates Chrome, Firefox, and other browsers very well and allows you to get around Cloudflare from what I've seen. So that's really good to see. So yeah, we have all these different headers, especially with the New Relic OAuth token. We have all the different cookies. We have the data that we searched for. Then in the request, it looks just like normal requests. You know, you have your URL, headers, cookies, JSON, but then there's this line impersonate Chrome, which is super killer, super key, and I'll show you the difference. So actually, let's just go to the terminal now, and I'll show you the difference with and without it. All right, so I'm here in my terminal, and if we go back to Cursor, we see, let's remove this impersonate Chrome, right? Let's go here, and let's run it. And we basically get a giant error message, so let's do 403, I think. Oh wait, yep, status code up there, I saw it. So the status code is 403, which essentially means we were unauthorized and we didn't go through, even though all the cookies are exactly the same, all the headers exactly the same. So now let's go back, let's unhighlight that and go back, clear this, run it again, and now we get all the data just from that one line. So this package is super powerful and definitely should be using it while we still can before it gets patched, of course, but I think we'll always be ahead. But yeah, so now we can clear this and now we see this is working. This is great. So now the next step is getting those cookies dynamically, because we don't want these in plain text. And that's where this new package comes in called Selenium Wire that we're going to be using. We're going to have AI help us write the code, but essentially it's going to generate code that's going to open up a Puppeteer instance. It's going to go to the website. Then once it's on Turo, it's going to make a search. And with that search, it's going to get the information and the cookies that we need. Then it's going to save that, and it's going to use that for subsequent requests that we make via the API. So let's get straight into that. So the package I like to use for headful or even headless browsing is Zendriver, and this is typically undetectable. I haven't run into any issues with it, but you can think of it as Playwright or Selenium that's taken to the next level just to be more hidden. So I'm gonna be using this. AI is not the best with it, so you have to play around. So I'll go through that process and I'll show you guys the final script that does work. All right, so when I'm doing Zendriver or Selenium, what you want to do is, again, you want to open up the Chrome developer tools and you want to click this button right here. I'm going to make sure it's blue. And when you're clicking around, you're basically looking for these tags and this information. So I'm going to be looking for this input. I'm going to be telling AI, look, this is the search field that we want to be using. Then when I have the search button, this is the button you want to be clicking. This one right here, button.seo, and so on and so forth. Basically, you want to be clicking these buttons. And I'm going to use the data.testID because this class seems to be dynamically generated, but this data test ID doesn't. It seems to be static, and it's going to stay the same in between requests and in between sessions, so I'm going to use that one. And once you find an item that you want, what I like to do is do copy element, and this copies like the major data about this element that I can paste into AI. All right, so after tinkering with AI, I got it to output the following script. So what it does before each request, or every time I run the script, it goes to Turo.com using Zendriver, it searches for JFK, it clicks search, then when it makes a request, it looks for the cookies and the other authorization headers for the following API, which is the API we used when we were searching. So then once we have that information, it stores those cookies. Then when we make our search request using the API instead of the WebDriver, it uses those cookies and those headers so they're up to date. Now this is pretty theoretical and the code is, not that important. I guess it is pretty important, but what's more important is seeing it in action. So let's actually watch what it does. So I'm here in the terminal and I'm just gonna run it. So let's put this on the side. And as you can see, it opened Chrome, it went to Turo, search for JFK, and it just hit the search button. So now it's gonna close it now that it has the data. And with that data, as you can see in the output, it got the headers, got the cookies, and then it's using the exact post data to make a request. So now with that request, we got the first 3 items, which is Mazda 3, we got a Tesla, we got a Volkswagen, which is great. So it's working exactly as expected. And so now what we could do is we can edit the script to make even more requests in the future. So now I'm searching for July 7th, or July 3rd to July 7th, 2025. So now what we could do is we could extend this and we could look for maybe July 7th to July 10th and so on and so forth. We could look for the whole month and we could look for different airports and different locations. So now that we have this data, we can do this. And every time we run the script, we know we'll be using up-to-date information. And you can extend the script even further so that when you're running it, you actually save the cookies to the cloud. So I've done that for a different project where every day when I run it, instead of having to open up the browser and get it every time I call the script, instead what I do is I run it once and the script gets the new cookies and other authentication codes, saves that to a database. Then every other time I run the script, it goes to the database and gets the proper headers and cookies. So that's another addition you can do. You can use Google Sheets, you can use a CSV file on the computer, you can use a database, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's pretty quick, pretty short. Just wanted to show off this technique that you can use to get headers, get cookies, so that way you don't get blocked while doing that. Also make sure to use curl_CFFI when you're making requests to impersonate Chrome, Safari, and other browsers. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.